I think it would have been really easy to get caught up in trying to fix everything, but we had to be so strategic with the resources that we had that we worked very closely to think about our students who were suffering the most during the pandemic and what we were going to do about it.
There's not anything that we do in our division that doesn't have an equity lens or equity framework from it. We think about every single child in this community and the work that we do.
We spent the first 48 hours making sure students had food. Then we quickly turned into the device distribution center. We had to find who was missing.
I think we tried to anticipate needs as much as possible as well, tried to make sure we were in the know about what the concerns were in the community so that we could provide tools and resources.
In Guilford County, we were not a one-to-one district before the pandemic. We weren't even a one-to-one district 6 months into the pandemic. We had faced decades of underfunding. All teachers did not have a laptop. All students did not have a laptop. Our community has broadband internet deserts.
I remember in the early days of COVID, we would sit in this room and we would have the maps. Everybody would have their maps out, trying to figure out where to put the hot spots, trying to figure out where the most needs in terms of placing resources were.
The at-risk work really was led by the superintendent very early after school closure.
We were in the process of identifying those students right before COVID, so it was just a timely effort to target interventions and provide programming specifically for those students who needed additional assistance.
In order to identify which students were at risk, we looked at multiple factors. They included things like English learners, students who had a history of chronic absenteeism, multiple course failures, students who had not passed, students with disabilities. While we want to be able to have every student who needs a tutor to get a tutor, we had to start with the students who needed a tutor the most. Existing tools that were out there could only tell us when a student logged in at a given point in time.
So when NASA Inkbo, once again, our data strategist, really pushed and pushed to try and find this information.
The inactivity dashboard helped us know where to target our efforts to make sure that all students were staying engaged to the fullest extent possible. We work in silos so much in public education that recognizing that we're able to break down some barriers in the midst of a pandemic is a pretty big deal.
When our student information office, for example, customized the field in the back end of Power School that said whether a student was remote or not, that helped us understand attendance. That helped us understand how many students were coming back in person and how many students were remote. That helped us target our staffing resources. That helped us build our Canvas and activity dashboard.
Figuring out how to connect data points and which students were not active in Canvas was really a joint effort. We don't just come up with data around here. We do it so that you'll then do something with the data. How you know if a student's on track is if you monitor their engagement. If you look at their course grades, you can have qualitative conversations with classroom teachers or counselors. It could be that a student was on an inactivity report and then all of a sudden is completing assignments and submitting them every week. That's a success story, and we have lots of them, but we wouldn't have known had we not had the data.
We all understood that this was a highly critical time in education, and we just all got on the ground and did what we needed to do to make sure that the community had what they need.
The award's important because we were able to leverage data sources, knowledge sharing, and partnership across an organization to meet the students who have the greatest need.